Hi everyone, Dr. Dawn here, your executive coach and business consultant, and quite frankly, the person in your corner when work gets complicated. So let me start with this question. If you've looked at your calendar lately, like me, you probably realize you not only have a million appointments because of all of your professional responsibilities, but maybe the summer looks a little different. You might be planning a summer vacation. You might have kiddos or grandkiddos that now need extra time and attention. You might be trying to juggle so many responsibilities. And if you're crazy like me and think you are actually entitled to a little self-care, hello, you might be trying to fit that in too. So it's so easy, isn't it, for life to get pretty complicated pretty quickly. So that leads me to my next question. Do you believe you can do hard things? Listen, you're already proving you can, trying to juggle it all. But oftentimes, professional women especially, those at the very top of their career, those go-getters, and I know that's you because you're listening to this podcast, right? So you are already invested in your own professional and personal growth. Well, guess what? We're the ones that put the most pressure on ourselves, and sometimes we doubt ourselves the most. So if you're thinking, yeah, I think I can do hard things, but maybe deep down inside, you're not sure if you really believe it, then come back and join me. You know we love to talk about it all right here on the Career Woman's Secret Playbook podcast.
Are you a strong, independent woman who's passionate about her career? Then this podcast is perfect for you. Based on her book, The Career Woman's Secret Playbook, career coach Dr. Dawn Hamby shares the kind of insider secrets you can only know if you've hired, fired, and promoted employees over the past 30 years.
Ladies, I'm on a mission to help busy women just like you create a career and life you love without sacrificing your work-life balance to get it. Come join me as we inspire and motivate each other only as women can and have lots of fun along the way.
With Dr. Dawn's tools, strategies, and action steps, you can unleash your personal and professional power in a whole new way. Here's today's episode.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm your host, Dr. Dawn, CEO and founder of Dr. Dawn Shop Talk Consulting. And as we like to say around here, let's talk shop. In other words, our podcast is all about talking about those workforce issues that I know can affect your success, your state of mind, how you're feeling, not just about your professional life, but your personal life as well. So you guys, we love diving into topics like these. And if you're new here, I want to welcome you. You have found your place, ladies. You have, because you're surrounded by other amazing professional women in this community that really want to take their careers and their lives up a notch. That's what we're all about, up-leveling. So each and every one of our topics, and check it out, today's episode 88. So we've got 87 other things for you to listen to, all about living your best life at work and at home. And man, it could be tough as career women, right? Especially if you're a career mom or a career single mom, or maybe a mom to some furry pups or kittens or cats, whatever your jam is. We're busy. We're busy and we're exhausted. And on top of our responsibilities at work, we're oftentimes asked to take care of lots of other things in our lives. Our loved ones, that can include children or grandchildren, that can include aging parents, partners, you name it. And listen, that doesn't even take into consideration that many of us want to be good friends. So we invest time in our personal relationships with our girlfriends, and we want to take care of ourselves, right? When you add all that up, it's no wonder we're listening to podcasts like this because we need that inspiration. So I'm so excited to talk about today's topic because I find this more and more with my clients. In fact, all of my episodes really are based on conversations I've had with clients, either my coaching clients or the clients I work with that I do presentations for and workshops for. And so if you want more information about that, you guys definitely check out our website. We've got lots of free resources for you and lots of ways that we could actually work together. So just head over to drdawnshoptalk.com. That's DRDAWN, Shop Talk, all one word. I'll put that on the screen here too if you're watching us on YouTube. Now, if you're listening to us as a podcast, of course, we'd love it if you give us a 5-star review review, or even take a couple of seconds to write a review, either on your favorite podcast platform or on YouTube. If you are on YouTube, definitely give us a thumbs up. It really goes a long way in making sure our content gets out there to more people. So we definitely love that. All right, you guys. So before I get started on the actual topic, if you are new here, we like to discuss the topic itself, why it's important. But then I don't want you to walk away with just us talking about it. I always want to make sure that you get action steps, things you can do right away to kind of help with the issue. So we're going to talk about that. But I also want to mention this. If you've been listening for a while, you might have noticed that there's been a gap between episode 87 and today's episode. Now, I feel terrible because it seems like every couple of months I'm having to address this. I love this podcast so much. It's never going away. I mean, I was really considering shifting over to another type of format where I am helping professional men and women both, because I do help professional men and women in my business. I do a lot of workshops and coaching. I was really considering like putting a stop to the Career Woman's Secret Playbook podcast and shifting over to one that would be more inclusive, right, for men and women both, because all these topics really are universal. But I absolutely love just having this format just for the ladies out there. I just think it's so needed. So although you can see I've slowed down on the number of episodes I'm releasing, and I may actually end up doing a second podcast called Let's Talk Shop, because I do have more and more male clients that I'm either coaching or are part of my workshops, that I want to make sure my podcast can maybe reach more people as well. So the Career Woman's Secret Playbook podcast, I don't know if I'll ever just completely shut it down, but you're going to see I have fewer and fewer episodes. I want to get to 100 for sure, so that you ladies have 100 episodes that are always there for you. And then I may just shift completely over. I'm going to keep you updated on that, but there was a big gap, like I was saying, between our two episodes. That happens when I get super busy with my paying clients. As you know, I'm ad-free on this podcast. I'm trying to stay ad-free. Advertising is where we get sponsorships. And of course, that's a great way to support the podcast. You can help support the podcast by giving us those reviews and the thumbs up and things like that. So that really is a great way for free to support our podcast. There are other ways that I could start earning money from the podcast. I'm only bringing that up because that explains why I've had to slow down. When my business gets super busy, since I am in private practice, I have to prioritize my paying clients. And I say that because when you're looking at doing hard things, I want you to give yourself permission to prioritize where the profit line is, where your revenue is. Not only because you want to do the best at your job, and if you're working for someone else, obviously your efforts need to go to where revenue will be impacted the most, but also because if you are, let's say, working for yourself as a business owner, you are going to have to prioritize your time, because I do practice what I preach. I absolutely love what I get to do for my clients, but I also am very passionate about being a wife and a mother, about being a great daughter and sister, about being a great friend. And on top of that all, I do prioritize my self-care in the morning, every day, and in the evening. And part of that self-care is taking time to work out, eat healthy, again, spend time with family and friends. All that's connected. I prioritize my sleep. I got 8 hours and 43 minutes of sleep the other night. So I really have jumped from 7 hours to at least 8. And I'm noticing a difference. I'm even on a health journey. On my YouTube channel, I just released the first video of 4 I'm doing this year as I prioritize my health, my fitness. I'm getting back to my fighting weight, so to speak, because I am a stress eater. When we lost my mom, that was a big part of me coping over the past 2 years. So if you want more information, it's there for you on the YouTube channel. And our YouTube channel also has our podcast. If you like visually seeing everything I'm talking about, then definitely check that out. But I say all that because I have not actually jumped back on the microphone since February. And there was a part of me that was like, oh gosh, I just feel so guilty because I love putting the content out consistently. I do have some super fans that literally will reach out to me and ask about the podcast and the episodes. When's the next episode coming out? And gosh, if that doesn't make you feel awesome that you're reaching people and it makes a difference. But I would tell them what I'm telling you. So I feel like I can address everybody right now. Again, this podcast is here to stay, even if I have to drop back to just a new episode every couple of months and try to figure out what I'm going to do about this idea for a podcast for professional men and women. Because if I decide to do that, I could always have still episodes. Well, every episode that I feel like where it's warranted, I could speak to where women may either excel or struggle in a certain area. I could still address those gender differences because the topics are still universal. So give me your feedback on that. Of course, I would love to really know a little bit more about what you're thinking. Would you be up for that? Would it be okay? Would you still listen if I move this over to the Let's Talk Shop podcast with Dr. Dawn? So again, this is all in infancy, just kind of using my audience as a little bit of a poll. Thank you for letting me use you and abuse you. Hopefully I'm not abusing you, but you know what I'm saying. I want to be the best executive coach for my clients. And I feel that anybody who is with us on this podcast platform, I feel like you're a client of mine. I really do. Because these are topics that are coming from other clients. And if they can help you too, then consider me that coach in your corner there for you to help you be your absolute best while still taking care of yourself. Okay. So in any case, love your feedback. Would love to get your feedback on that. So let's now take a little bit of a deeper dive as to how all of that ties into today's topic, the fact that you can do hard things. I feel like women exemplify that in greater numbers because we are so often the ones who have to juggle so many other responsibilities. Even in this modern age, the research supports us on this, ladies. You know, we're still the one that's usually the primary caregiver for children. We're still the one that's probably the primary caregiver for aging parents, you name it. And so when you consider all of those things, then it becomes even more important that we treat our time like the commodity it is, and we invest in it wisely. We don't get that back. And I have more female clients that run themselves into the ground than I do my male clients. It's just true. I would hope that in 2026, this wouldn't be the case, but I hate to tell you, we still need a little work in that area. Hey, listen, we've gotten a lot better about expressing ourselves and our needs and asking for help. We sure have. I see less and less women facing imposter syndrome and things like that. But again, as a gender, we still face that in greater numbers. So when you add all that up, I want the ladies listening today and the men who support us. There are more and more men on the podcast listening. Another reason I've been realizing this is so universal. But in any case, I want you to know it's so easy to forget that we do hard things all the time. The problem is we don't give ourselves credit for it. We don't look back on our lives and realize all the times we have stuck it out, where we have faced something challenging or something new, something that really tests us, and we face it. Now, sometimes we haven't faced it perfectly, but again, a lot of women suffer from perfectionism. You guys, I have whole podcast episodes and YouTube videos about that. So when you go back and look at all the times you have faced hard things and you have gotten through to the other side, what we tend to do, we don't give ourselves the credit of facing it and facing it well. It doesn't matter we didn't face it perfectly. The true simple fact is we probably faced it with more grace than a lot of people. Because the ladies listening right now to me, wherever you are, you might be walking, you might be driving to work, you might be emptying the dishwasher, you might be listening to this as you're getting ready for the day. And you don't give yourself enough credit. I know this because this is the exact same conversation I have with my coaching clients. That's why I consider my podcast a complete extension of my client work. Okay. So again, think back on all the times that you have faced things. Give yourself the credit that you are due. And realize if you can face hard things in the past, you can do it now. The problem is we invest too much all at the same time. If you're facing challenges at work and in your personal life, you are going to have to prioritize. And if you're the sole breadwinner, you might have to set some real healthy, strong boundaries with the people in your life and explain to them you need them to lift you up right now. This is when they need to pour into you, just like you pour into everybody else. So I find that when you set those healthy boundaries, not just in your personal life, but sometimes you have to set them with coworkers, and yes, even with your boss. I have whole videos about how to set healthy boundaries in your personal life and in your work life. So when I reference that, guys, if you're on YouTube, I'll include the links in that description box. So click on more to find out more. If you're listening to us on your favorite podcast platform, then just go to the show notes and I'll include the links there. But I say this because I really want you to hear me. I feel so terrible for my clients that I have to give this tough love speech to because they are running themselves into the ground. And then they wonder why the deal falls through, why the client doesn't call back, why the relationship ended. When you take care of yourself, both personally and professionally, you become a more powerful version of yourself. And that attracts wonderful things. As they say, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. And I say that not just because I was a former teacher in another life, but because it's just so true. So give yourself the credit for facing hard things and really start to believe that you can. So again, when you set those healthy boundaries, you're going to then start filling up that tank with joy. You're going to start giving yourself the sleep you need. You're going to start balancing the indulgent food at a restaurant with the healthy food that fuels your body and your energy and helps take care of yourself. You could probably up your game just a little, not to put more pressure on yourself. But I want you to feel this from the inside out. I want you to realize you can face hard things. You just don't need to do a million things at once. So that's when you get back in that driver's seat. And I've got blog posts on the website about this very thing, facing fear head on, putting yourself in that driver's seat, and realizing a bend in the road is not the end of the road. So again, not only can you do hard things, and I'm going to give you some strategies right now to kind of reinforce this speech I'm giving you today, the tough love I'm giving you today, but I also want you to remember that because I'm telling you not to do all the hard things at once, in other words, you don't need to try to figure out if you need to end this relationship, try to get the new job at work, try to move and try to lose 50 pounds all in the same week. Okay, we need to prioritize what needs to come first. If the job is on the line and you're the sole breadwinner, like I was referencing earlier, you need to prioritize the job. You need to get that settled so that you can depend on yourself financially. If your health is really affecting everything else, maybe this is the time to try intermittent fasting. Or if you qualify for GLP-1s, listen, I'm too cheap to pay for GLP-1s and I don't right now technically qualify. I just don't want to pay out of pocket. I think it's fabulous if you want to try that, but I've gone on my own health journey, going back to intermittent fasting, eating all the foods that I love, the junk food as well as the healthy food. And again, I've got more about that on the YouTube channel. But if your health is really in a danger zone, and you need to prioritize that, have the conversation with your boss, take the time off, see what you need to do about healthcare so that you can take care of yourself, because you're going to be no good to yourself or anybody else if you're not taking care of your health. Same thing with your personal life. Have the tough conversations with the people who love and support you. And if you don't have enough people that love and support you, again, we need to talk. I coach people on how to have those tough conversations at work and at home. But you probably, again, no, not probably, you definitely don't need to make all the hard decisions the same week or the same month. So figure out what you need to do first. Kind of choose your hard, if you will, and then you give that 150%. You're stronger than you know. You have faced tough things in the past. And even if you don't believe you face them with all the grace and dignity you wanted to, well, guess what? 2026 is going to be your year, and we're going to do it now. Forget the past. Turn on that light switch. Let's go. Okay. All right, you guys. So let's get to these strategies. I'm going to show you 3 ways to remember you can do the hard thing. The first one I'm calling look back before you look forward. And that kind of encapsulates everything I just mentioned about remembering all the times in the past where you have faced those hard things. See yourself in that moment, really visualize it. If you haven't done a vision board, put this on your vision board. Think about doing one, okay? In fact, I meant to film me putting the vision board together. I may do another one to update some goals, and I'll film that if you're interested. But you need a visual reminder of all the times you have faced hard things in the past. Think about this. Let me give you just a couple of examples. You probably went through a job change. Maybe you didn't lose your job, but maybe the higher ups change. So now you've got a new boss. Maybe you have new coworkers. Maybe you have new job responsibilities that you're not really comfortable with, and it's stressing you out. Think about those times. And if you're facing that now, again, think about times in the past where you have faced those and you've gotten through it. Think about heartbreak. Let's look at a personal example. Think about the fact that, you know what, even if it broke your heart into a million pieces, guess what? You survived that. You're here today. You've learned a lot about yourself through the process. So again, you can face heartbreak in the future. Think about maybe a new skill set that you had to learn. It could be professional or personal. Maybe it's a hobby you wanted to try. Maybe you would love to start a podcast. And by gosh, you tried it this year. And it doesn't matter if you've got 5 followers. Who cares if it's just your family and friends listening? The fact is, you figured out how to do it. You started it. And that's important. Success and how we feel about our own success. Yes, it's great when it can be measured in dollars and cents, but you guys, oftentimes it's that feeling from the inside. You said you're going to do it and you did it, because there is lots of psychological reasons why when you say you're going to do something and you don't do it, how that really affects and erodes your confidence. Believe that. I've seen that firsthand, not just with my clients, but also with family, friends, also with myself. I feel a gazillion times worse if I say I'm going to do something and I don't follow through. It really does affect you. So learn from it, let go. And now let's use that past. Let's look back so we can now look forward. Okay, you guys, strategy number 2. I reference perfectionism. Again, I have whole videos about that. We need to just let this one go, ladies. So strategy number 2, I'm calling stop measuring success through perfectionism. We're not going to let perfectionism be the guide. Okay. First off, let me again remind you, this is so, so important. Not every memory has to be Instagram worthy. Okay. Not every event has to be on your Pinterest board. Okay. Not every meal needs to be so beautifully presented that you could take a picture of it and send it to, some magazine. Bon Appetit, for example. I say that in jest, but deep down inside, I do this myself. I know I've got a lot of clients that struggle with this. We really do say we're not a perfectionist or we're working on it. Or some of my friends and family and clients really admit that they're a perfectionist. But the problem is they don't let go of it. They don't know how. So I have lots of other videos about how to let go of perfectionism. But let's just start today with acknowledging that that's not how we are going to measure our success. So if we're facing hard things, we're just getting through it, people. We're putting down perfectionism and we're just getting through it. Okay. I give you permission as your executive coach. I am giving you permission right now. Put down perfectionism. It is doing more harm than good. It does not serve you. Somebody better tell you, and it might as well be me. Okay. So we're giving that up. All right. So let me give you a new definition of success under this second strategy. Here is what it can look like. It can look like showing up. It can look like doing your best in the moment. Because remember, when you know more, you do more. It can look like just letting go of the past. If you do that, that's success. That's giving up perfectionism. and instead looking for progress. Let's just move that needle just a little bit, ladies. I know you can do it. I want you to believe you can too. Strategy number 3, I want you to give yourself permission to prioritize, just like I did. Did I struggle with a little guilt realizing, oh my goodness, it's been since February? Well, of course I did. Okay. Because I'm a type A personality. I am a go-getter. All right. I know people listening to this podcast are too, because you could listen to all kinds of podcasts. You probably do. But you chose to listen to today's episode, or you've listened in the past, right? So if you are a podcast listener of ours, I already know that you tend to struggle with prioritization because you want to give everything 150% because you are a go-getter. You are that alpha. You are that type A. Some of my clients don't think they're alphas. They think they're betas. And many times they're actually alphas in disguise. They just haven't really stepped into their own power yet, especially on a professional level. So again, you guys, you can prioritize. Give yourself permission to do the hard thing, but it doesn't all have to be at once. Keep this in mind. It's very closely tied to saying no. When you say yes, and we know ladies struggle with saying no. Every time I mention that in a workshop, that no is a complete sentence. This small word has a lot of impact. I usually get a lot of giggles in the audience when I'm joking around about this because it resonates with so many professional women. You are more powerful than you know. But just like everybody else, it doesn't matter if you're a tech billionaire or a full-time housewife. You have the same amount of hours in the day. You can't buy more. So you will exhaust yourself. Perfectionism is exhausting. And if you don't prioritize, that's exactly what's going to happen. You're going to be a jack of all trades and a master of none. So you have the same number of hours. I know you're a superwoman, but please don't treat your time like you are, because you will exhaust yourself and you're not going to be good to yourself or anybody else in your life. And a woman who's not fulfilled from the inside out, oh my goodness, you affect so many things. Today, even in our modern age, the woman still is sort of the hub of that family. She doesn't have to be a single mom to be the hub of that family. And if you're a professional mom, whether you're working in the house or outside the house, so much really revolves around you. So if you're not taking care of yourself and you don't feel fulfilled at your job and or in your personal life, it really will affect so many people around you. And we don't want that. I don't want that for your loved ones. I don't want that for your friends. I don't want that for your colleagues. But more importantly, I don't want that for you. So again, going back to saying no, when you say yes to something, you are saying no to everything else that you might have had to do possibly that day. So the question is, are you saying yes to the right things? With all that being said, just keep this in mind when it comes to prioritization. Prioritization isn't selfish. It's strategic, and you deserve that. So does your work. So do your loved ones. Okay. All right, you guys, let's wrap up with a call to action. Think about this. Life is going to have seasons. Some seasons are about growth. Some seasons are about rest and recovery. Some are about building new things. Some are just about putting one foot in front of the other. The goal is not to be everything to everyone. The goal is about being your best self. Be the best version of yourself while protecting your peace along the way. All right, ladies. As always, I'm going to wrap up with our motto here at Shop Talk that reminds you, you are in control of your day. You're not in control of what happens to you. We know that. But you are definitely in control of how you rise up and face those things, hard or not. So here we go. If you're not having a fantastic day, you have the power to make it one. Until next time, keep showing up, keep moving forward, and never ever underestimate the strength that you already have inside you. I know our episode is over, but this is just the beginning. If you're ready to take action but don't know where to start, just head over to drdonshoptalk.com for lots of free resources, ways to work together, and for even more. Subscribe to the Dr. Dawn Shop Talk YouTube channel. Remember, ladies, you don't have to take this journey alone. I've got you covered. Till next time.